such a rewarding experience because it felt almost like the closest thing I've had in film to theater because there were long takes that you're able to experience the entire scene as a fully fleshed out story.
I know that this is kind of taken a little bit of an evolution. This started off with a short film, which I watched, and I
Oh,
looked
thank you.
up some of the same little details, like in terms of like the yellow glove and some of, the camera placements. But I would love to know how easy or difficult, or was it just really exciting for you to be able to take a concept that that you loved, that, you
Yeah.
know, really helped you in your career, and then be able to revisit it and explore it even more?
Well, thank you so much for not only watching the feature, but also the short. I mean, that is way too kind, and I really appreciate you doing that. It was very exciting, but also very nerve-wracking because I never expected the short film would become a feature, and it was actually my application film to film school. And it was just this very lucky situation where I made it for schools and but also blasted it out into the world. And Joel Cohen saw it from the Coen brothers, who's my biggest hero. And so he was the one who met with my dad and I. My dad and I co-write. And he was like, you guys should continue working with each other because that's very special to work with family, but also turn this into a feature. And we were like, oh yeah, we should take Joel's advice and do it the blood simple method. But it took about 2 years to finally get the script to a place that we actually thought was working. And then it was always a constant battle for me to even be back on that exact same Swiss road in the Alps and have that exact same old Fiat with a different group of actors for the most part. And to try to shoot it shot for shot again was very scary, knowing that, I wanted to impress Joel a second time. So it was very stressful. But thankfully, I had incredible actors like Calum agree to be a part of this crazy concept.
Calum, I've been following your career and I'm a big fan. Um, I love watching you really step into all of these adult roles, considering I've been following you since Austin. But I would love to know, your character in this film exists in multiple versions of timelines. Um, how did you prepare to kind of ground each iteration emotionally to keep them very distinct?
Oh, that's a great question. That's a very good question. So Freddie and I will first of all I had the benefit of working with Freddie once before on another project called Shedding Angels because I'd seen the short film and I loved it so much that I think I begged my agent to say, how can I work with this filmmaker? So I was lucky enough to work with him not once but twice. And we had the same process on each. We kind of developed our style on the short, and then we brought it to the feature. And it's a very immersive experience. I like to really stay in character. I like to kind of keep in it throughout the day on set. And Freddie was very helpful in that process and really embraced it. He also sent me the score of the film to understand what the tone was. So not only did it have the short to have as an example of what the style was going to be, but I also was able to practice and prep with the music that was going to be playing during the movie as well, which is a very unusual thing for a director to do. And it was unbelievably helpful. I wish all directors would do that.
There is a very surreal yet very grounded tone to the film. It kind of reminded me like a little bit of a Wes Anderson yet very dark cinematic feel. I would love to talk about and hearing, what your concept or your plan was going into this film, because I loved the way it looked. I loved the feel. I loved like how the music really immersed myself in what, because I unfortunately had to watch it on a screener at home. So,
Yeah.
sometimes it can get really distracting. So, but I was, you know, thoroughly entertained for the 2 hours.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it was a long journey to figure out what is the feature going to look like and and for me to accept that the feature is different from the short because the short film is just it has a very desaturated palette. It's very dark and gritty. But in going into the feature, we knew we had to construct this heightened world that the audience would have to buy into and, suspend their disbelief a little bit. We're in Switzerland with this international cast and but everyone's speaking English. And so we wanted the palette to be very vibrant and colorful. And it was a struggle for me throughout because I was, when we reshot the short film portion of the movie, every little thing that was different felt like I was getting stabbed because I was like, that's not the same. Like Joel Cohen is not gonna like this version or but I had to accept that this is a different movie and it's a much more colorful movie and really lean into that in every aspect of production. So it took a while for me to accept the new reality of the project, but I'm very happy with where we landed.
You know, Caleb, I would love to know from a performance standpoint, how did you approach playing a character who is both uh, victim and suspect, and sometimes within the same scene?
Yeah, that's a great point. Because he is both. He's almost in some ways the good guy and occasionally is perceived as the bad guy, and I think he's dealing with that as well. I think that's also a moral question that he's questioning for himself is who am I? Am I good? Am I like the people that raised me or not? And can I chart my own path forward? Which is is something that I think we all kind of question. At some point, it's not something good or bad, but are we who we're meant to be, and are we living up to the person that we thought we could be, or are we destined to be someone that we don't want to be? So it was a lot of universal themes even within this heightened world and in this very eclectic group of characters. It dealt with some real themes around family and questioning who we are. Uh, what was so great about Freddy is how immersive the experience felt. I mean, there's scenes that were quite long at times and were very emotional. And Freddie was such a great collaborator in those moments because I was really able to just completely immerse myself in the emotion. And I remember going to bed at night after some of the shoot days and feeling like the tear ducts in my eyes were completely dried. Like I had no more tears to cry. And and it was such a rewarding experience because it felt almost like the closest thing I've had in film to theater because there were long takes that you're able to experience the entire scene as a fully fleshed out story.
I love hearing that because knowing that this is Freddie's sort of like breakout project, and you've been working in the industry a really long time. You've worked with several different types of directors. I mean, can you kind of expand a little bit on working with Fred? I know he's here, so working with Freddie and trying to kind of balance knowing that he's a little bit of a newcomer, but seeing how evolved he is in his filmmaking.
Normally, it would be something I would think about in terms of the fact that it was his first feature. That was never a thought that went through my head at any point because he felt like such an established storyteller. And it's both in his choices and in his confidence. Um, I think also seeing previous work as well, like seeing the short of So Torn and doing that other short together, Shedding Angels. I felt like I'm still convinced he's actually like 50 or 60 and he's just like in disguise, or he's had a lot of plastic surgery done. I don't know. I have no idea, but I'm still convinced he's lying. Um,
He's way too kind.
but he does have such a maturity both in his choices and in his ability to tell a story and in his confidence. This is a very bold film, and this is a film that you'd expect to see from someone who's made many films before, to make these bold, exciting decisions. He doesn't play it safe. He takes big risks and has the confidence to know that he can pull it off. And that's something I've never seen with a filmmaker, especially a filmmaker where it's his first feature. So I've sometimes felt like I was the newbie compared to him because his wealth of knowledge around film was so extensive. He's seen more films and understands film better than I ever will. And his ability to tell stories was so advanced as well.
With the little they're not murals, but
Yeah.
Uh,
The talking portraits?
yes, the talking portraits. Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that concept and where that, I mean, one, they're beautiful, and
Oh.
two, where did that concept come from?
Yeah, we're really excited about characters who feel like they're stuck and trapped in their past. And we're always trying to think about ways to externalize that for Barbara. And so we really loved, the fact that she's not only expressing that in her performance, but having her store be a physical embodiment of that sense of being trapped. And so we really like the idea of having a product that also symbolized that, which is this window to the past, which are these embroidered portraits that have thread pull strings that have an audio component to them that you can, record audio there. And having that be Barbara's connection to her mother. And once we teamed up with Bernina and Mettler, our sewing machine company and our thread company as sponsors, we knew we would be able to literally embroider these portraits. And I think it took Bernina millions of stitches to make each of them. And we're so appreciative that they put that time in because it took a lot of work to get those portraits made and ready for set.
The AFI prompt that Freddie was given in order for him to make this short was, it's read a story of about a character with a change of heart who has to make a big choice that transforms them. I would love to know for you and I know this isn't going to be a quick answer, but like, I would love to know for you if there was a situation in your career that you kind of had to make a change of heart and make a big choice that kind of transformed the outcome.
It was coming out of Austin Alley, which Austin Alley was such a great, amazing experience, and it was so fun. And I wasn't sure if I would be typecast or not. And to be honest with you, I was actually okay with being typecast because I thought it was such a wonderful, fun-loving kind of character, and people seemed to have such a great connection to it. So I wasn't opposed to being typecast, but I there was a moment where there was two projects that I was offered at the same time, and one was this movie called Bodied, and it was like a battle rap movie, and the other one was something in the same style and tone, and Bodied was like a very bold choice, and I decided to go down that path, and I luckily Joseph wanted me in the first place, which is amazing, and the fact that he took a risk on me as well, coming from a background that wouldn't you wouldn't think of for that role. And so that was a moment that was a big turning point for me. It felt like that year was kind of me deciding, should I go down this path or stay on the path I'm currently on? I would have been happy on either one. I don't think there's a right or wrong because I think life is too long for those kinds of opinions about it. But I'm very grateful that I was able to have those options because so many people don't get to even make those decisions. And I was lucky enough to, and I was lucky enough that Joseph Kahn took a chance on me.